The councilman in Falfurrias could have had his DWI charge dismissed if he had only successfully completed a pretrial diversion program.
However, Brooks County officials say that didn't happen, and now that councilman is looking at possibly the maximum penalty he can receive under the law.
Our Michael Gibson joins us now with the update to this story that we first brought you back on April 8th of last year. Michael?
It was on April 8th of last year that Falfurrias City Councilman Trevino was stopped by Falfurrias police for a DWI. Trevino agreed to go through a pretrial diversion program which would have wiped that DWI off the books. But the county attorney tells 3 News that Trevino failed a drug test after he tested positive for alcohol. Now Trevino is out of that program and is under bond supervision and now facing possible jail time.
I'm not going to talk about this case, but typically it's going to involve a much longer period of probation. It's going to involve some jail time. The probation is important because there's a number of classes, and when we have a situation, we also use AA and things that are going to remedy the situation.
We obtained the police report from the department there in Falfurrias on that DWI stop of Trevino. A Falfurrias officer said they noticed that Trevino had driven his car past a stop sign before eventually stopping and then trying to back up. The officer pulled Trevino over and says when the councilman was asked where he was coming from, Trevino supposedly said a nearby bar, and he had only had 1 drink. The officer suspected the councilman, though, was drunk and called in a DPS trooper to take over the case.
This officer said he thought it would be a conflict of interest just because of this was a council member for the city, and he didn't want, to be any animosity or anything, negative. So I know he called the troopers. From there, they took the case.
We understand that Councilman Trevino was given a breathalyzer on the scene and fell that. He was then taken to Spawn Clayburg for a blood draw. That also supposedly was above the legal limit of intoxication. I did contact Councilman Trevino for a comment about his failure to be able to complete that pretrial diversion program. He told me he was unaware that he had failed any drug test and was now seeking legal counsel.